Hi, in this video I'm going to talk about the interface of Excel and also about the different file types you can have if you save an Excel file. If you open a new Excel file, then this is what you see. On top you have the menu of Excel and the whole area here is called a ribbon. And the ribbon consists of tabs. You have the Home tab, the Insert tab, you have the Page Layout tab, and so on. Sometimes a tab appears depending on what I select in the cell or the object here in Excel. For example, I have here beneath a little graph. If I select the graph, you see chart design and format are context-sensitive tabs who appear the moment I select the object graph. Also, some tabs you can add via the options in Excel. For example, I don't suspect that you have already the developer tab in your menu in the ribbon. So if I go to File, Options, and I select the Customize ribbon, then here you can select the developer tab to add in your ribbon. I don't think you need it for this course, but then you know already now. Each tab is divided in groups. You have for the Home tab, you have the Clipboard group, the Font group, the Alignment group, and so on. And in each group, you find the options you're going to need. Typical for the Home tab is that all the options you need for the formatting of a cell or a range of cells, a range of cell of one cell, you're going to find all the formatting you can do in the Home tab in the different groups, font, alignment, number, and some others. And sometimes you see in the right under corner, you see a little arrow here, and that's what we call a dialog box launcher. And a dialog box launcher just gives you an other screen with more options. For example, if I click here in the alignment group on the dialog box launcher, Excel gives me the dialog screen format cells, and in this screen you have all the possible options Excel proposes to format a cell or a range of cells. And you have in the tab alignment here, you have all the options. You have in the tab number, here Excel proposes the most common options, but here you have all the options you're going to need. In the tab font, in the tab font here, you have all the options and so on. Under the ribbon, you see the formula bar. In the formula bar, you always see the real content of a cell. For example, if I select cell A1, you see here what the content is of this cell. You see some text. Cell A2, you see a number, and cell A3, you see a formula. Sometimes the outlook of a cell can be different due to the formatting you gave it. But if you are not sure and you want to know the real content of a cell, select the cell and look in the formula bar here. On the left side of the formula bar, you can see the name box. The name box shows you which cell is selected. For example, if I select this cell, I can see here it's cell D5. If I select a range of cells, then the uppermost left side cell is shown. In this case, C3, you can see here. You have a drop-down menu, and here will appear the name of a cell or a range of cells, and you have the possibility in Excel to give a name to a certain cell or to a range of cells, or, for example, if you work with tables, the name of the table, they will appear here. If you want to select a certain cell, you can also give the cell name in the name box and press enter. Let's say I want to go quickly to cell AA150. I just type in AA150 in the name box and I press the enter key. And here you can see I immediately jump to cell AA150. We will use this kind of behavior later on to work with a range of cells, to select quickly a range of cells. Beneath the formula bar and the name box, you have the worksheet itself. Every time you start a new Excel file, a worksheet is automatically created with the name Sheet 1. If you need a new worksheet, you click on the plus sign. If you want to rename a worksheet, then you can use the right mouse click and you have a new menu and you can rename it, you can copy it, can move it, you can even color the tab, you can hide the worksheet, so you have some options here. A worksheet consists of columns and rows, and the crossing of a column with a row is called a cell. For example, I selected now cell D4. You have columns from A to XFD, and you have rows from 1 to 1,048,576. Typically, if you gather data in a worksheet, then the columns are used for the variables and the rows are the observations. Beneath the worksheet, you can see the status bar. For example, in the status bar, you have the option to zoom in or zoom out on the worksheet. Another interesting feature of the status bar is when I select a range of cells. For example, I select the cells from A1 to A3 and I immediately get the average. If there are numbers in the selected cells, I get the average of the numbers. I get the count of the cells where some data is in it. So I have 3 cells with data in it. If I select from A1 to A5, I can see still the count is 3. 1 cell with some text, 2 cells with numbers. I get the sum of the selected cells. If there are numbers in it, I get the sum of these numbers. So it gives you immediately some kind of information about your selection. The collection of all the worksheets is called a workbook, and a workbook is the actual Excel file. You can save the Excel file by using the File menu option here, and then of course use the option Save. I'm going to save, for example, this Excel file on my desktop. I give it a name, tutorial 1, and I choose the extension I need. And you have, let's say, 2 important extensions for a workbook, for an Excel file, and the most common is the .xlsx. If you don't know what an extension of a file is, you should look it up. You need to know. And the .xlsx is the most common one to use. Mostly you're going to use this one. If, on the other hand, you have in your worksheet, you have used macros, or you have used some objects like a button or a checkbox or a radio button or objects like that, you should save it as an XLSM file. It's a macro-enabled workbook. If you don't, if you then save it as an XLSX file, then you will lose these objects. But of course, Excel will give you a warning if you try to do that. And then you have the XLSB, that's the binary, that's just it's the same as the .xlsx extension, but typical use for Microsoft, and it has no compatibility with other spreadsheets. But it's much faster. Certainly, if you have a lot of data to process in your worksheets, you should go to XLSB. But maybe let me mention one specific one here, the PDF. This saves your Excel as a PDF file. It's, by the way, the same as using the option export here, so that can be useful too.